In some ways, I feel like anything that I say is extra on top of, I think, what we all just experienced sitting together. Silence and the settling and just the presence of deep-hearted human beings being together, practicing together. So we've been and will, oh, there's a sitting on Sunday, November 10th. Please come, we can do this all day. It's totally cool. So we've been practicing with the ancient Lojong slogans, Tibetan in origin. There have always been, and probably always will be, times that are difficult. I mean, Buddha's time, Buddha lived in difficult times. The Tibetans, human beings are human beings. And we're amazing. We're amazingly deluded and we're amazingly luminous and shining. So I'm going to give just a little talk today, because we want to do service too. I want to review that the slogans are, we resolve to begin over and over and over, and that what we're doing is, and the whole world is here to help us train in empathy and compassion, to wake up to our interconnection. And that because we know bad things happen, we're not being naive here. The practice is to transform bad or difficult circumstances into the path. And to make practice our whole life. And no matter what is here, there's nothing outside of it. There's nothing in our mind states. There's nothing in what's bad we think out there. It's like, oh, this is it. Here I am. And so the wonderful slogan that we're landing on tonight is to assess, how are we doing? With compassion and kindness and a deep honesty and a forgiveness. Because if we just try to skip over the stuff that's uncomfortable, then we're just trying to, what's Dogen say? Put frosting on a cupcake or something like that. It's like, let's stay real here. I have all kinds of thoughts, feelings, likes, dislikes. It's what makes me human, and it's how I cultivate compassion. For myself and for everybody else. And in moments where I can extend, it's like, oh, I got a little extra here today. I'm going out and knocking on doors. It's amazing to me. So let me say, I just spent, I think, about 5 days at the 20th Buddhist election engaged practice retreat. I've been doing this for 20 years of they were there for Obama, they were there for Trump, they were there for so here we are. So we get up in the morning, sit 2 periods of Zazen, do service. Get up and clean the house and clean the bathrooms and make lunch, and someone goes down to the Democratic headquarters and gets little addresses and names, and then you go out in little teams and you knock on doors. And ostensibly, I mean, I'm not going to tell Democratic headquarters this. You're there to say, did you vote? You're going to vote. Who'd you vote for? Jack Cornfield has said recently, something like your vote is a prayer. Do you know that vote and vow have the same root word? Something like what are you staking your life on? And how can we do this together? So I want to tell you some of the amazing people that I met. Because I was saying to people, I think it should be part of being a citizen that we should go out and talk to each other, for goodness sakes. The slogan point says only one point. Is how you doing? How are we doing? How can we help each other? How can we be here together? How can we keep extending beyond our own little self-centered bubbles, which, if we're honest, I'm as self-centered as anybody, trust me. And then trust your own eyes. It's like, what's really true? What's really important here? And how do we live it? And how do we do it even when we're distracted? And Gretchen's going to help us more on Thursday with one of these points. But for me, to go up and knock on somebody's door or to ring the doorbell and to know that maybe nobody's home, but maybe somebody will come and meet you face to face that you don't know and they don't know you, and somehow they trusted opening their door to you. I think this is amazing. So I came home with all these new people that I care about. I mean, I cared about them in the abstract, but now I've been on Washoe tribal lands. And I have these people in my hearts that I saw, living in very difficult situations with children that they really love, who would say very honestly, this government has not been good to me and I do not trust it, but I know that I need to vote in this one. And I think of the woman was outside mowing her lawn, and they've been canvassed to death in Nevada. So I would say, I'm really sorry we're doing this again. But it says here you haven't voted. Are you going to vote? And she burst into tears. She just said, "I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. I said, "Can I hug you?" And we just hugged. She voted. I mean, it takes a while for the app to. And some people we just high-fived. And then there were people who had voted for Trump. And they would challenge you walking down the street. And then what are you going to do? How do you make practice your whole life? And a guy who started to scream at us and then got in his car and followed us. And I was scared. And then because I practiced staying with my fear, it was like, I just started feeling real compassion for this human being who just for whatever reason had a very, very different point of view and really in that moment needed to yell. And then we went into public housing. People care about their kids. They care about their lives. They just want to, but the Dalai Lama says everybody just wants to be happy. Everybody just wants to be happy. And then we take sides and then we think this is going to make me happy or this is not. I mean, then we've got reasons for it. But there's only one point. It's like, how do we meet each other? How do we meet ourselves? How do we meet our own delusion and confusion and fears and wants and hopes and dreams? And I found myself just saying over and over again to people, whatever the exchange was, I really hope that you have a good day and that your kids are safe and that you're happy, or something like that was appropriate. And then they go close the door, go back to their lives, and I'd go back to mine. So here's, because I want to tell you what we're going to do in a minute. One of the people on the retreat, she came all the way from LA. She's an African-American woman. I really liked her. She was a physician. And she, the first day, they were all there for 14 days. I was there for about 5. And we were getting ready to go out canvassing. I think it must have been her first day too. And she just burst out crying. She just said, I'm really scared. I mean, she was going into predominantly white neighborhoods. We were mostly going into middle class and sometimes upper middle class, but the ones I just told you were the ones that moved me the most. That she knew she was Black and she really felt at risk. And she started talking about the practice that they do at the Zendo, where she practices in LA. And she said what they do is they chant Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha, which is the final verse of the Heart Sutra. And a translation, I mean, if you want one, or sort of, it is pretty much, it's like, hallelujah, awake at last. Everybody's awake. She said they do it 7 times. I said, why don't we all do it together 7 times? I got to give a Dharma talk, so that's why I got to do this. So why don't we all do that together? Let's do this 7 times. And it was so great. We're gonna do that. And we all chanted Gate Gate Para Gate. And then she came back afterwards and she said, you know, I was out on the street and my partner that I was with disappeared into some house or wherever. And I realized I was standing there completely in this neighborhood. And she said, you know, I started chanting Gate Gate Para Gate. And she said, you know what? It was fine. Everything was fine. It's like the whole world turned. So I think we're going to chant. We're going to do the Metta Sutta. We're going to chant loving kindness. In Sri Lanka, when right-wing government took over in Sri Lanka, the monks went out in the street and marched down the street chanting the loving kindness sutra. That's how they voted with their lives. And then we're going to do the Enmei Jiku Kannon Gyo. It's in the books. And it's calling out to Kuan Yin, which is just like, help me, help me. I'm just a human being. We all know we need help. Would you please come and help us? We can't do this by ourselves. And then we're going to dedicate it and say thank you. And we're going to do some bows. And it doesn't mean anything other than just like use your body. This is our bodies and our voices, just like expressing through these forms what we care about, which is love and kindness. And then if you want to join in, we'll do the Gate Gate 7 times, and then we'll go home and we'll see what happens next. But I want to say, and again, I don't know anything, obviously, that you don't know or anybody else doesn't know, is that partway through this retreat, I just had the most, it's like everything's settled. It's like, it's okay. We're going to be okay. There was last night, there was this amazing, he was a young Latino man who opened the door. He was very upright. And, you know, he said, "Did you vote?" I voted. And he said, with such confidence, he said, "We got this." I completely believed him. So who knows what's gonna happen? But whatever happens, it's a path and it's practice. And I really do think we're gonna be okay. Okay, all sound okay? So we're gonna do, if you look in the chant book, who's the